Hey YouTube, welcome to another build order guide. This one we are going to be covering a total double TC build with Abbasid with the goal of booming and getting into castle at a competitive time. This is a great option when coming up against really aggressive civs or players. So this build is actually inspired by a few players, first being Hut when I first saw him using defensive towers instead of archers to repel aggression. And the second was Donati, who showed me the way with the double TC turtle into a castle age. So a big part of this build is thanks to Don. If you're interested in checking Donati out, I'll leave a link to his Twitch in the description below. If you're interested in getting a written version of this build, you can have access to that through my Discord, which I'll leave a link in the description. If you enjoy the video, don't forget to like and subscribe. Now let's get into it. Now I know some of you guys might look at this build order and think, oh, this isn't going to work at my elo. They're too aggressive, they go all in and I can't deal with it. But I promise if this is executed properly that you will be able to hold your opponent and get to castle age relatively safely. I will actually show you an example of a game that I played against a aggressive French player who went Archer Knight and Rams. And we managed to get to castle at a relatively good time and defend him with pikes, men-at-arms, and mangonels, which eventually just got us the win. Alright, so we are going to start with all of our vills going on to sheep at the beginning of the game, 2 vills, and then our scout is going to bring the 2 closest sheep back to our base here. Now, once he does this, he doesn't have to come back to the TC for another, well, until age 2 basically. And the reason for that is we're going to be transitioning these vills across to berries as these 3 sheep run out. I discussed this on a previous video as to why I like this opening with starting with 3 sheep rather than going all sheep or all berries. So I won't get into too much depth, but basically it allows just get more value out of 1 scout. You're going to scout the whole map, and also you're going to have safer sheep for later when you come under pressure. So our first vill that we create goes onto food as well, and then the next vill comes out to gold, but first builds a house along the way. Then our next vill will build the House of Wisdom and then come onto gold as well. So we should drop the foundation right about now. There we go. Notice how I did it. I built it where it was on the way to where he was already walking. So he doesn't like stutter, or like if you build the foundation on top of where the vill is already currently walking, they'll walk outwards and it's just wasted villager time. So I'm gonna have a total of 4 on gold here, with all of the gold villagers building these foundations here. Our scout, not too focused on the particular scouting pattern in this game, but he's going to continuously scout, not coming back to our base to drop off sheep, so we can explore more of the map here. So once we have 7 on food, 4 on gold, we're going to come across to the wood, build a lumber camp. We're going to start chopping with all of our new vills there. So soon we'll be aging with the economic wing, so we get access to the fresh food stuffs, which reduces the cost of our villages by 50%. Really nice, especially for a double TC strategy. It's going to allow you to afford units and anything else that you want to spend your food on. You're essentially training 2 villages for the price of 1, right? Really powerful. That's why Abbasid Double TC is probably the most common double TC strat. So once we have a vill in queue here, I'm going to take 3 of the sheep vill off, and they're going to come to wood as well. Then we'll have a total of 5 on wood, and then as soon as we have 5 on wood, we send the next villager out to the berry patch here. We're keeping 4 on gold here in transition, because the first thing we're going to do with that gold is we're going to take in wheelbarrow as soon as this mill is built. So once you get the 50 wood, the villager gathering the berries is going to start building the mill. A little bit of a mistake here. I sent the next vill out to berries when it was meant to go to wood, so I just took one of the sheep vills and took him across to wood here. So you'll only want to rally one villager across to berries here. So these guys will finish the sheep right about now, and this is a little bit of a mistake on my behalf in this demonstration. Usually I would shift click these villagers that were gathering sheep, come across to berries once they're done, just so you avoid that idle. So once you have the 5 on food here, we're sending all of our new vills to wood. And as soon as you build this mill, you should have the gold for wheelbarrow. If you don't, I like to manually drop off my gold villagers so that we can tech it straight away. We should be aging just after 4 minutes, which is a good age up time. So now we're going to build a house, but keep in mind with the House of Wisdom, we want to be achieving the golden age as quickly as possible. So I built this house here very intentionally to connect the mill to the circuit here. So we've aged up, we've sent 9 villagers total onto wood. And then as soon as we have the 125 gold here, we want to take in fresh foodstuffs. Once we also take in fresh foodstuffs, we want to send 2 to stone. We're going to build a barracks as well as soon as we age. And then we're going to send our first villain age to food. So we have 2 stone, 2 gold, 9 wood, one of them is building a barracks, and 6 on food at this stage. New vill coming out to food. And our first thing we're doing here is building a tower. So this build is revolved around defending early pressure and also adding in a second TC. And in order to do that, we need to actually set up defensive outposts here. You can try and make units, but it's going to be difficult to make units and get the second TC. It's going to really make it hard to match their mass or to be able to defend the TC or all your resource points. So this strat is a great turtle way to both get 2 TCs down and also get to the castle edge, which is where Abbasid thrives. You're going to have a great eco and you're going to have a really good timing push as well. So we have a total of 7 on food here, and I think this is a mistake here. I send another one to food. I don't think you need one. So stay with the total of 7 here, and start queuing pikes as well. So around 5 minutes you should be queuing pikes. Maybe a little bit earlier. I was a little bit delayed with this. You can queue it a bit earlier. So constantly train vills here. Have a total of 7 on food, and then start sending more to stone here. So we're building towers on all our key resource points. So what we're doing is we're protecting our stone, protecting our gold. We only have 2 vills on gold right now, but we are going to be putting more on there later. So it's a really good way to defend that. We're going to send all of our pikes to the resource point that currently doesn't have a tower. So if you are against, this build is particularly good against someone that's opening cav. I'm going to build the tower here. I like to keep my towers in the network so it contributes to the golden age here, which we're just about to hit. So now at this stage of the game, 6 minutes in, we have 3 towers, 1 still being constructed here, and we're going to get our first arrow slit tower. So if you're up against someone that opens horses or knights, and then they come in with, say, when they come in with archers, you're going to have the defenses necessary to repel the archers. So you got the pikes. This is like having archers that can't be killed, right? Unless they have rams or a huge mass of siegeable units. This is going to be an unkillable archer on your key resource point, which is really great. Archers can't push into this at all. And cav, you've got the pikemen to deal with that. So some of you may wonder, like, is this going to work against the English? And I'd say the only difference is against the English is you don't make this racks. You go for an earlier TC, you still get these towers with arrow slits, and the towers are going to be able to repel the longbowmen, and then you have a few options, right? Based on what you scout. So if you scout and you see that he's continuously massing units, he's dropped down a blacksmith at home, you can expect he's probably going to come in with a ram rush. So in that case, what I like to do is I like to drop down three archery ranges initially after you've got your second TC down, and just start spamming units. Probably going to need a blacksmith eventually as well to get your armor upgrades and also your archer upgrades. And I think with towers, you should be able to hold alongside your archers as well. So when the ram comes in, you can pull the villagers to siege the ram and repel the archers with your arrow slits and also your archers as well. And then as soon as he starts backing out with the ram, You just pull your villagers back and put them back on the resources. Eventually, you will just be able to outmass him with your archers, and you should be able to hold that way and then look to age up once you feel like it's safe to do so. Keep in mind, as soon as you hit age 3 as Abbasid as well, you can build mangonels in your base straight away. If you have the resources for it, you can do it straight away. So don't delay going up to age 3 too long. So we're building 3 towers here. Now, generally speaking, I like to just build 3 towers first. And then if I scout, all new villas are coming to stone, by the way. So once you have 7 food, 9 wood, 2 gold, all new villas will be coming to stone. Now at this stage, I really want to be scouting. Obviously, there's no one else in this game that I've kind of created here. But I want to go scout, see what they're doing. If they're backing off and you see them got a lot of villas on gold, you can stop investing into towers, throw down your second TC, and then macro to age straight away. So you really got to use information and adjust accordingly. If you see they've backed off after the first arrow slit tower and they're doing what I just said, you can basically ignore making any more arrow slit towers, and you can just make your second TC and macro to go up. So I put a total of 7 on stone here. Then I started rallying this town center to gold. Now the reason I'm doing that is because we're going to look at start aging up soon. Like, that is our goal now. The only difference, if we saw him coming with more units and potentially rams, I would make slightly more pikes, and I would probably make like an extra tower on my berries and maybe an extra tower on my gold. We're not adding in any other type of unit. In most cases, you should just be able to hold with the pikes and the towers and buy yourself enough time till you get up to age 3 and you can start spamming men at arms or build mangonels. So with our stone villages, we're coming across building a town center. This is a really bad map spawn for a second town center. Like, there's not really that many good spots you can put it. You could maybe put it on 2 goals, but that's also exposing your town center further out than maybe what it should be. But if you have like a wooden food source, that is going to be your optimal place. If they're really aggressive as well, you definitely don't want to be putting it, say, in between these 2 food sources. If you know that they've backed off and they're going castle, you could consider putting your second TC here to cover both these food sources. So with this TC, we're continuously rallying onto gold until we have 9. And on this TC, we're going to food. Start producing as soon as you got your second TC. We have 9 on gold, 7 on wood still, because we want to have enough on wood so that when we age, we can, or before we age, we can drop down a bunch of military buildings. So I got this one on food, one will, why change it? Yeah, so we're both going on food here so we can get up quicker. Now, you might think that this strategy is a bit slow, but keep in mind, this is not what you're going to be doing against someone you scout and predict that they're going fast castle. This is going to be good against early pressure. So your age up time is not going to be slow. Like, if they invest a lot into ramming you down, you're obviously going to get up to castle first. And if they decide to back off, re-macro and go castle themselves, you're going to age around the same time, maybe slightly later. But that slightly later age up time is fine. You're going to have 4 military buildings at least being built. And you're going to be able to build siege on the field, which is a huge advantage. If you have mass pikes and some men at arms and building siege on the field, you don't have to invest in a siege engine, a siege workshop. You can do that straight away, so you don't lose any tempo here. Your vills are also cheaper, which means that you're not actually being delayed too much with the vill cost there. If your opponent decides to go double TC because they scouted that you're doing this, then that gives you a perfect opportunity to get up to age 3 first and punish them harder because they're paying more for their vills. And from here, once I started aging, I started sending 1 TC to wood and the other to food. The reason I'm sending 1 to wood, we do have 4 military buildings, but for the Woodvilles are 4 mangonels here. So I'm now training pikes in transition. If you feel like pikes are not necessary, like if they're not making much cav and they've only got archers, you can hold off on making any pikes and you can just go men-at-arms when you age up. So we're aging just after 11 minutes here, and this is going to depend on how much pressure you're under in age 2. You might have needed to make a few more pikes in age 2, a few more towers. If you're making more towers, keep like 2 vills on stone so you can afford the arrow slit upgrade here. And as soon as we age, we're aging up with the culture wing. So we want to take in preservation of knowledge. Run out of food here, so depending on the state of the game, you can come back to sheep, or you can go out to other resources. If you have a berry bush far behind you, you can go there. In this spawn is like super unfortunate. All of our resources are exposed except our wood. But you can come out here, build towers if it's safe to do so. Otherwise, build a mangonel at home, push back their army, then go out and get your food source here. And then from here, you just adapt. So based on what your opponent's making, if it's pure archers, just go full men-at-arms. If they have cav and archers, mix both in and make mangonels. They can't really do anything to kill your mangonel in age 2. If they have, say, a lot of cav, if they want to dive and kill your mangonels, sure, let them sacrifice all their cav while your pike kills them all. So once you've aged, if they are heavy on cav, instantly get the veteran pikemen here. If they're not, you don't have to worry about getting that straight away. So we're getting preservation of knowledge. And once we feel like we've held and we're in a good spot, I like to get my ecotex as soon as this comes in. So I've gotten my food gathering here. It's in queue here. And I'm getting both of my wood upgrades here. And that's the build, guys. I will be sharing a recording of this in action. Some people may think it's hard to believe that this works against aggressive players, but I have a replay to show you guys to show it in action. And yeah, it took me a few goes and actually looking at what Donardi, a great player, what he does in this situation. I was going about it a little bit wrong, and I think this build actually deals with early aggression very well. Now, I haven't played like a ton of games against early aggression with this build, but the ones I have, it's worked. I've won against English with this, although I made a lot of archers in age 2 to compensate. And I also won against French many times with this. So there's usually 2 reactions out of the French. They either just go, okay, I'm going to age up myself, or okay, I'm going to go all in and try and kill you because I want to punish the 2 TC. Both times I've defended it and or punished the opponent for getting up to castle, just because you're usually going to be in a better position with double TC, building mangonels on the field as well. So hopefully you enjoyed this, guys. Leave a thumbs up if you liked it, and I'll catch you all in the next video. Peace out.